So a few words about how French retailers, that's going to be the subject of my topic, are working in a digital transition, how they can use or don't use specific tools to help them reach their goals. Most of the time it's like more sales or more presence on a specific territory. I'm Arnaud Trousset, co-founder of Rilos. We operate the system Geomatrix that helps retailers to organize their sales, to open only profitable stores, to raise the sales from existing stores. We operate that in 6 countries today, from Hungary to Russia and as far as in Vietnam, for all formats of retailers, French and not French as well, small formats, biggest formats, commercial centers, points of delivery for e-commerce, the whole range. What are the main problems that usually are facing the retailer when they are focusing on one question? We're going to speak about just one question, how to expand a network of point of sales to be efficient. So one of the main topics usually they're facing is how to gather the data. How to gather data for doing what? The first thing is to opening new stores that will be profitable. If they are not profitable and if they suffer from losses, from not being not efficient and then being closed, it could usually lead to cost up to 3 million euro per single location. So in order to prevent this to happen, they have to organize the acquisition of data to acquire a lot of technical skills, a lot of mobility data, a lot of people that will help to organize the whole thing. About 80% of the retailers today use only Excel, free Yandex, Google, or whatever maps to organize the topics. I can mention some retailers in Romania that today work to opening about 500 stores, only Google Earth and Excel checklist. So this is something that happens today, it's not like 10 years ago. And in order to open for specific retailers about 10, 15, or 1,000 stores a year, that's some of the retailers that we work with are doing, you need to organize this work not as it is today used by a lot of retailers that work only, I would say, opportunistically. They open stores when they can find plots or can find proposal for different brokers, and study them, decide whether it's worth to go or not, and then make a decision on investment or not. But most of the time, it hampers information about what's available on the market and not what could be available and what specific zones where it could be working. So the question are how to open the maximum of stores to cover the maximum population, to make it faster than competitors, to make it with a minimum investment, and to make sure that every point of sales are profitable. So let's say if you work with the usual retailer that works only with Excel, some maps and so on, and let's say you want to enter Russian market. You know basically the statistics about the whole Russian cities, how many people living in each of them. So Excel is your friend here. It's very easy to do. You know only to enter as a Walmart appraisal, only the biggest cities first, and then the biggest, the smallest and biggest, or by the Auchan strategy, the first one, the biggest and the smaller ones. Depends on the markets. But usually it will give an answer to say that, okay, you want to enter 90% of the population, you have to pick only the 700 biggest cities. That's good only if you open a specific point of sales which has a monopoly, so nobody has. So it doesn't work for a lot of retailers. When you want to focus on the strategy to say, I want to be nearby 15 minutes stop maximum for every inhabitant of Russia. That's a tricky question. Or 5 minutes. So we made the math to figure out how much stores you have to cover to be at 5 minutes walking distance for every urban Russian citizen. And it's 500,000 microzones. Microzone of 5 minutes walking distance. So to do that, okay, make the math not very difficult. Figure out which of these zones will be the best to open a new store. And this is a tricky question that a lot of retailers are trying to face, but cannot find information how to do that. So I'm speaking about specific case of some of the clients that we are serving are using French ones in specifically here. Let's say we are saying that to opening a new store, we need specific KPI that says I need at least 6,000 persons minimum in a specific area. I need the salaries to be more than 50,000 rubles, and I need 0 competitors in my vicinity. So to organize this work, we've seen a lot of retailers that try to do the job, all of them in parallel with trying to acquire data and do the stuff. With solutions that are on the market today, they could do that in 10 seconds to organize what's the best 10 locations for, let's say if it's speaking about Moscow City and Moscow region, is 41,000 microzones. You want the 10 best one? Here it is. Another retailers that is more interesting into specific information about where the people are going during the daytime. Because where they're living is one thing, but where they're going, an interesting question, okay, I see a lot of traffic on the daytime, but which of this traffic would be interested by my goods, by the goods I'm selling, by kid stores, by electronic stores, by sportive goods, and if we integrate this information into those systems, it helps to say, okay, this is on the upper slide where people are living, and it's people are going on a daily basis. When you mix the two of them, you get answer to the questions. Where to open, let's say, if my KPIs say, I want to open only 100% best location for the whole area. Here they are, 40 of them. But this is information about what the demand is. So when we know today that demand is there, we have to figure out whether there is specific plots or premises that I could acquire or buy, and so on and so on. So usually people would be working with different brokers, website information. They lose a lot of time into this, and they only see what's available on the market. Let's say we integrate every potential offer on the market, rental, acquisitions, so you know the best areas, and you know in these best areas the location that's on the market today. But one thing is there, you only know what's available on the market. But a lot of our clients that using this system say, okay, I'm going to the first location which has the best potential. I'm going to knock on the doors of the stores that are existing here. Could be modern trade, could be no modern trader. I know that for myself, for my store, it would be the best location, the minimum risk. So I could say, hello, can I get your stores? I'm going to pay good money for that. And you take it, and you take a lot of, if today 45% of the market in Russia, grocery stores are non-modern trader, there's a huge potential of growth here. And to finish on that a little bit, let's say when you mention that you know the best location for potential stores, when you know and it takes you a fraction of the time it used to be and the resource it used to take you before, and you know that this location would be the best, the last thing you figure out is whether my specific format of store will be efficient in this location against existing competition. And these jobs, when we were working with like GIS desktop software, used to take us about half a day to 1 day to figure out one potential scenario. What if I put a 6,000 square meter stores in this location against competition and so on? Now it's 30 seconds online. So the companies that did this transformation, that use some specific tools, can be on top of the market, know where they have to grow, know which format they should be implementing in these locations. And when we're speaking about expansion, is one vision about how to grow tomorrow efficiently. And if we're speaking about efficiently growth, it means the stores get open, the stores work efficiently, people get salaries on a longer basis, taxes get, the cities get the taxes. So on a long-term basis, it benefits everybody. Not only the stores themselves, the networks, but the inhabitants there that find the goods they need to find in these locations and the jobs they get as well. So to finish on that, we're seeing on the retailers today a trend to go from only figure it what's around a location and how much my checklist, if I'm going on a spot, says it's good or not good, and so on and so on, by a vision saying, okay, what I could be saying for tomorrow? How can I prevent my stores to be crushed tomorrow by competition? How can I prevent that to happen? To make different scenarios, to analyze what-if scenario. So it's all of this predictive analytics that's already implementing today with some of the retailers. But the next step will be to say prescriptive, to say, okay, what should be the tools to be acquired to see how I can reach my, let's say, if I'm an American company, my boss every year said, okay, you need to make 10% more sales. Whatever, how you do, it's your problem. But if you want to reach these goals, now you get options, and tools to make this happen. And that's basically it for me.
Thank you very much.